Hey everyone. Excuse me. Spot of nerd here. It is Wednesday. Just passed into Wednesday, and I wanted to do probably just a very quick recap from Tuesday night's midterm elections. Was it the blowout? Was it the red wave? The tsunami that we hoped for? No, it wasn't. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a bit disappointed, a bit shocked, but we also cannot forget that there also were a lot of victories, from governor races to, as long as nothing is allegedly weird, hopefully we will not wake up in the morning to find out magical beans have been found that have been put in favor of one of these candidates versus the other, or houses versus the other, or branches of government versus the other, if you get my meaning in that respect. But, I think it really, let me be negative, and then I will finish it with something more positive. And, we're going to definitely be talking much more about this later down the road, but, stay tuned. Totally left field, random. We will be talking about, I'm going to be seeing the Black Panther Wakanda Forever on Thursday, so I'll have a full review up on YouTube as well as the audio here. So stay tuned for that. That'll be quite I'm excited but very skeptically excited because as I've mentioned, Marvel is on life support, and quite frankly, I think Black Panther will be the determination on whether or not it survives. Otherwise, if it doesn't, if this movie does end up like the rest of the last few movies, Marvel will be officially pronounced dead. So let's hope that's not the case. But you know, coming back to the election stuff, I think what the disappointing aspect comes into play is, I guess it's really, me. I have to be careful with my words. I think it's just it leaves me. Well, I guess it leaves me speechless, but I don't understand how people continue to vote for the atrocities and the horribleness that continues to happen day to day in mostly democratic cities across this country. Unfortunately, I live in one. If you look at articles and if you look at the data and the research, Seattle ranks one of the top 5 cities that people want to get away from. And, I've pled my case, if that's a word, until things can kind of get a little bit more settled financially. I am stuck here. And though that might sound more like an excuse, I promise you it's not. I promise you it is genuine. Like, there's nothing more than I want than to leave this city because of the crime, because of the politics, because of just being hated by everybody, hated by most people here, and the feeling of loneliness and not having anybody to really lean on. And, I look at these last 2 years of just increasing prices, governors that mandated lockdowns and basically locked you out of your churches and locked you out of your businesses and mandated that you have a passport or a vaccination card just to go see a movie, for the love of God, which goes against everything in terms of your own medical privacy. And it it just seems like, metaphorically, this is what people want. This is what they keep voting for it. They want to be controlled. They want to be locked up. They want to be forced to do things that they don't have to do. And I don't get it. I mean, I get it in respects that, frankly, I don't think they are knowledgeable in the sense of what really is going on. I don't think a lot of these people that see the mandates, see the masks as control. I think they do blindly see it as, well, the television told me that this is important, so I should follow what the television says. Or I saw a tweet that said this, so I should follow what this tweet says. It's one of those things where I want to make sure again to be fully, I don't want to, I guess, be rude or disrespectful to anybody, but I've always said that if you want to wear a mask, go for it. If you want to get a vaccine, go for it. What my issue with it is comes down to is when everything is mandated or when it becomes a part of living your day-to-day life. That's where I have a problem with it. I'm not anti-vaccine. I've had vaccines. Trust me. I'm a human being. We've all had them. Polio. Um, what's the other one? Not chickenpox. There's one for chickenpox, I think, something like that. But at the end of the day, again, I just believe in your freedom of choice, your freedom to do as you please without government intervention. So when we continue to vote for more control by the government, I don't understand why you want that. I really don't. And it's getting harder now. This is a road we'll go down later, but it's obviously getting harder and harder now to have communication with the quote opposing side that you might have because again that division I think is so wide right now that sometimes you really can't have that conversation with somebody. I want to. I really do. I want to make sure that I hear their point and I want to make sure that they hear my point. But again, the media being so strong and being so evil now, if you vote one way or the other, specifically my way, if I were to be able to vote Republican, I'm considered racist or an extremist or a fascist or a bigot, everything in between. And again, what it really comes down to is I just simply want to be able to live the best life that I possibly can. And I want you to not be a part of it, is really what it comes down to. I really just want to be left alone and I want to be able to do my own thing. And I don't feel you should have to do or be a part of it. It's just, I don't think that's the case. And, again, you look at these last 2 years of this administration of, I mean, cutting jobs and cutting. Oh my God, there's so many things that my brain. It's you just have when you just have so many things you want to say and you want to vomit it out, but you don't know how to really say it. But you look at Afghanistan. You look at even when Trump was in office, we were exporting oil, exporting oil. It boggles my mind that we don't do this anymore to where we could literally be independent of other countries. So many people talk about global warming this and global warming that, and it's like, you do realize we could actually make things better just by doing ourselves, being our own selves, the United States of America. It's mind numbing. It's crazy. People want to go to more electric vehicles, this and electric that, and I get it. But the research shows that our own electrical grid right now cannot handle it. If everybody on your block right now got an electric vehicle, your electricity grid could not handle it. So again, I'm not opposed to such things, but what I'm saying is we need to be smart about this. We need to research it. We need to come up with better ways to gradually go into these new advancements into the future. And, tonight's, it does show that, hey, there were a lot of victories, a lot of, even though we might have lost, and by we, I mean, Republicans, we might have lost certain seats or senates or blah, blah, blah. But the air of that loss has been lessened, I guess is a word. If you look at some of these races, Where back in the 2020 election, these gaps were 11 points, 12 points, where now these gaps are 1 point or 2 points. So, though it technically might have been a loss, obviously, in retrospect, it kind of was actually a win. Now, again, the House has been yet to be decided and the Senate, and quite frankly, I am scared to death to wake up in the morning to ultimately see what that might result in, but I guess we're just going to have to see what that is. So, cross your fingers, everything goes according to where it should be. Specifically in Arizona, don't even get me started with that aspect. But if you know what's going on in Arizona, it very is, it's kind of giving us flashbacks of the 2020 election when all of a sudden things started going wrong for no reason whatsoever. It's just magically going wrong. It's crazy when that happens. Am I right? Question mark. So, but I will leave you with a positive. If anything, tonight has shown kind of the setup for what 2024 will be, the presidential aspect. It's shown that more people are showing up to those polls to vote. And they are showing that if you look at the map of the United States, county by county, if it wasn't for the big cities like Los Angeles, Seattle, etc., this country is red, flat out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the maps, to look at the research and the data, to look at each state's government. This country is a red country. It is a Republican country. And that to me is enough to give me hope to outweigh the negative vibes that if we can somehow get these elections under control, and you know where I'm going with that, I genuinely believe we can have the freedom that we truly deserve, the freedom that we have a right to. The way the Constitution has been written, we can go back to what we truly are as a nation that prides itself on the freedom. And unfortunately, that does take sacrifice, whether through the military, whether through me just putting myself out there on this podcast. Yes, I am fully aware they are two very different ventures, but just go with me on this. What I am saying is, I've told many people this before through podcasts, in person, blah, blah, blah. It is time for us to wake up. And it is time for us, for those of you that are maybe afraid or maybe that might just be more on the quiet side. We cannot be quiet anymore. We have to speak up. We have to put our foot forward. And we have to really start fighting, metaphorically, against those that wish to control us. Another positive side of tonight was watching the Louder with Crowder live stream. He got kicked off of YouTube right before this. Again, I believe fully that censorship does exist. I can give you plenty of examples of it through my own channels and my Instagram and YouTube, etc. So Crowder did his live stream through Rumble, which is essentially the competitor to YouTube. And basically, his stream destroyed every news network in this country. He was averaging 300 to 400,000 viewers during the 6-hour period, where these newscasts couldn't get barely 100, if not maybe 200,000 viewers at their highest point. So this is hopefully another almost stampede to just the giant tech companies that, guess what? We don't need you anymore. We have these other platforms. We have these other ways of getting our voices out. And I hope that puts a level of fear in them that they start to realize, oh shit, they don't need us anymore. And that's a fact now. It has been proven tonight through Steven Crowder's stream. We do not need your platforms anymore. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or it's going to happen this year or next year. But what I am saying is this is now that first step to show you, guess what? We can speak truth and we can speak reality and what is truly in front of us without censorship and without being blocked or without being fact checked, etc. It's basically a middle finger to the tech companies to say, fuck you, we win. And I'm actually really happy about that because now that I'm obviously being more vocal myself and being more open, you know, it's giving me that inspiration to keep going, if anything. It's kind of, instead of being defeated, it's more just, hey, there are other ways to get that voice out. I mean, you look even just Twitter with Elon Musk. He will revolutionize Twitter. He will change the way we do social media. And it's gonna be amazing. There's gonna be roadblocks, there's gonna be hurdles, but it's gonna overall be a positive direction. And I can't wait. I really can't. I think it's gonna be fantastic. So hopefully I can give you a little bit of hope, and I hope you do. If you feel similar to the way I do, hopefully you do have that little bit of strength and hope and positivity in you, that though tonight wasn't the wave we expected, it was at least a bright light that has shown to basically say, you know what? We are waking up. We are actually seeing what's going on. We just need to get past these blue giant cities. I mean, again, you take just one more example. You take Washington. If it wasn't for Seattle, Washington would be a red state. But because it's such a populated area, it obviously controls much more of the vote. It's little things like that that we just need to try to figure out. And I think, again, that's why you elect your officials. That's why you hopefully try to change the laws and, things like that as a citizen of the country. Because, again, there are ways to make these elections more fair and equal. And with the better, more turnout, obviously, with more people showing up to the polls, that means more people that think like I do, essentially, can make those changes. So that's where, again, I'm a little bit more on the positive side and hopeful that these changes can happen, and hopefully they will happen. It's not a case of if, it's now a case of when. So that alone, like I've said many times, broken record. You know me, I'm a broken record. That is what I'm excited for, and I pray that it will continue in the future. So that is all of my spiel for now. Again, we're going to talk about this way more in the future, so I appreciate y'all for listening. All the usual suspects: subscribe me, follow me, comment me, like me, the whole 9 yards is super duper appreciated. I actually had a nice little comment back and forth with a gentleman in Germany recently over my YouTube video when I reviewed All Is Quiet on the Western Front. So I'm gaining people's attention, and I'm having great communication with people. So it's been really positive lately. So I appreciate everybody that is involved and is listening. Even if you don't maybe like what I'm saying, or if you're not agreeing to it, I do appreciate you listening, because maybe you can at least get a different side of things, and instead of reacting emotionally, you can maybe just kind of see where I'm coming from, and maybe one day you'll reach out and we can talk about it, because that way you can tell me your side of it, and we can just have a conversation like the old days, like the 90s, or at least for me it was the 90s, because that's when I remember the good old days, I think. Sure, why not? But yeah, anyway, I will keep you guys posted on the Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Stay tuned for that. I'm seeing that on Thursday. It is 3 fucking hours. Dear God, please don't suck for 3 hours. But yeah, we'll see how that is, and then I will post up a review on it and let you guys know what it's all about. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much. Cross your fingers, pray to whoever you pray to that we do not wake up tomorrow morning and magic has happened again like it did in 2020. So we'll just leave you with that one thought. But otherwise, we will see you guys later. Bye.